Thank you, sir. To get up immediately, that's the reason. To get up immediately. Recently, I appreciate being a medical student. You know, I work in the hospital, abi, and we also have university, abi. Ṣé mo gbogbo àwọn ọmọ tí wọ́n ti parí school but they have not done their induction? You know what our hospital did? They asked everybody to work. They have not got certificate just to encourage them. They absorb them to come and start their house job. To come and start their house job immediately. And now, so they don't even step out at all from school. From school down, they started working. I brought the ball around. They started working. I think they did a induction like last month now, and they started working. As the house job, we don't back. So I say this: people now in that case, on a good day, all things will not be the gear factor. Which the allocation does the doctor need in our economy? Am I talking? If not because now don't just salary you don't need to. So that means that from day one, they are smart investor. They have invested why by selecting a single investment that has technically high returns and with low risk. I mean, what invest in? But if you now study accounting, that's why you'll be thinking about to do this or to do the or you study law, but you have a lawyer and who says to man? Who says those are the things? Oh no, you don't touch any. Of course now. It's not see, the truth of the matter is that what you want láti ilẹ̀ àbí? I had a story that our nurse but in go vigilante it was police. Ìyàwó akọ̀mọ́ bí ìyàwó one bí not be salary to be delay. So I want to say okay, our forefathers in accounting when they are coming, they don't go to public sector. They go to be àjẹwà nìyẹn o, our accountants when they are coming from UK, those there they step aside. They stay in private sector. They don't go to integrity. They stay in private sector and they leave the public sector for them. For now, they now take over the. It's not easy.
And the life of the economy
is easy. See, that's no matter. On the fifth, seriously, I'm saying this. If those are that is there, as they are coming. If they just enter sponsor and they just hold this by now, they will just make it's a policy that if you are not a child accountant, no job for you. And then, you will see that there will be a lot of opportunities, but they set aside and they allow them to be doing. So that's the problem. So let's go back to the business. So I was talking about an investor, a smart investor will matter diversify very well. If you have done that very well. Now let's try this now. An investment portfolio consisting of stock of all stock market security, including risk-free security, weighted according to their total market value of security, is called what? Market portfolio. The degree of reduction in risk due to the valuation depends on because we say you want to diversify, abi? You want to diversify. The degree of reduction in risk due to diversify depend on how return on investment change together in response to change in the economy condition. If you say, why do you think husband and wife they are trying to get job separately to reduce risk? Abi, my talking. This is husband. Abi, this is wife. Abi, a family that's a two asset portfolio. Abi, now you now say that normally tí ọkọ ò bá gbowó ó yẹ kí àwọn yẹn ní kó gbowó tàbí so that they can put effect. Now if the economy is affecting them in the same way, if the economy is affecting them the same way, husband Giwa Polytechnic. And why also is working in Boston department Rivers Giwa Polytechnic? Yes, what I say? No, but what I say this, the economy is what is affecting them the same way. You have diversified what? Nothing. You are even dwelling more risk. Am I talking now? So pé èpo wọn, there's a fuel that's increased, so I can't do baba again. Now want to go and do like cleaning business. I don't know. So you know it still seems that the economy still affect you the same way. So you have diversified what? Nothing. Am I talking now? So the degree of your diversification can be achieved if the return on the investment are not affected the same way. So when you are diversifying, there must be a correlation between those investments. There must be a what? Which is called now. There are three types of correlations. We have positive, negative, and zero. What I call it? Positive, negative, and zero. We'll do that one later. Now go. The degree of reduction in the risk due to diversification depends on how the return on the investment change together in response to the change in the economic condition. For example, if the return on investment fall as the return of another rise, they will be combined to reduce. That is, this woman husband is working in Federal Inland Revenue Service. And the wife is working in Rivers Giwa. Abi?
Yes, sir.
This guy, woman will not be getting returns. But the return is what? It's coming steady on 24. Abi? Now, there was a period whereby they paid Rivers Giwa almost 4 months together. Abi? What happened? That return is coming higher. And this one will be coming lower. Abi? What have you done now? You have reduced the risk. Am I talking now? That's so the level of that diversification will determine maybe you have what? You have reduced the risk. We are still to look at them in break down now. Emma, go back to the next page now. Go back to the next page. Do what? Okay. There are two important statistical measures used to describe association between two variables. That is, the relationship between them now. Investment A and investment B. There are two statistics that we normally use to measure how the relationship it is. We have what covariance and what correlation coefficient. Covariance and what correlation coefficient. Calculating of covariance and correlation coefficient. Please, as of today now, technically we have bring out 3 calculations, have we? We have learned how to calculate variance and the standard deviation, have we? We've learned how to calculate the return on the portfolio, which we have done, have we? This one, have we? And we also calculate how to calculate the return itself, capital gain, have we? Now, the next thing I want to look at is that when there are two investments in portfolio, the way they relate with each other, the way they behave with each other, we use covariance or correlation coefficient to measure their relationships. Then how do we calculate it? You could be required in exam to calculate variance, standard deviation, and what covariance and the correlation coefficient in what? Yes, sir. As a matter of fact, the chances of you escaping portfolio in the exam is very slim. It's very what? Very slim. At least something that will relate to portfolio theory will what? Be that it will come out. I will say that. Now, the following example shows you how to do this. It may what? It may what? It may look complicated. Don't mind it. But in most cases, it is a what? Straightforward matter. of setting up an appropriate column to provide the total needed, and then do this in the appropriate equations. You are now raw data now. The following information relates to two security. How many security now? Two security. The following information relates to two security X and Y, and how they behave under different sets of economy war conditions and probabilities described as a state of the world. Stock A, state of the world A, B, and C. Under the state of the world A, what probability? The state now. The state, we have state A, B, and C. And probability under each state, we have 0.3, 0.5, 0.2. Then for X, the return on X in each state, we have 25%, 22%, and 12%. Then for Y, we have 28%, 18%, and 15%. Now, the above information will be used to illustrate the calculation of the following. One, the abala reafa. Variance of the return and hence the standard deviation of the return of the two security. Now, last time I said, when you are calculating variance, the first thing you have to do is to calculate the expected return. Now, to get the expected return for X, estimating the expected return now, estimating the expected return. Expected return. Let me start from X. For X, the probabilities on each state of the world we have 0.3, 0.5, then 0.2. Then our return is 25 for X, 22 and 12. So to get our expected return now, our expected return of X is probability times the return for each of the world. We have let's fast 7.5. 7.5. AY 11. AY 2.4. Total 20.9. So our expected return for X is 20.9. Let's go for the return for Y. Probability return of Y and the expected return of what? Of Y. Probability remains the same. 0.3, 0.5, 0.2. We have 28, we have 18, and then 15. We have expected return.
8.4.
That's 0.3 times 28, Abi.
Yes.
Clear, babe? In 8.4 like this.
Yes,
Followed by
9.
followed by
3.
to add it together. That's the expected return of what? Y. That's what? 20.4. Have we done that? That's our expected return. So the next thing now is to use the information to calculate our variance and the standard deviation. For each of these investments, to get our variance, the variance and the standard deviation, the standard deviation of X. Apply your table like we did last time. Probability return on X. Probability are 0.3, 0.5, 0.2. Then for the return of X, 25, 22, and 12. Then our expected return, that will be return of x minus expected return of what? X. Abi? That's a starting point. All expected return of x 20.9. So yeah, the surplus for what we have. That is that be 4.1 abi. That be 25 minus 20.9 abi. 4.5. 22.1. Then 22 minus 20.9. 1.1. 12 minus 20.9. Minus 8.9. Am I communicating, please? What next? Find
minus 1.1.
the whole year. 22 minus 20.9 can be minus. The next one is to find the square. Abi, that will be return of x minus the expected return of x or square, not square root to square. Yeah, let's find the square.
16.81.
16.81. 1.21. 79.21. What next? Probability multiply Abi. Probability into bracket return on x minus expected return on the x square. So times this one by probability. Last one 15.84. 5.04. 1.21 times 0.61. Two put them together. 21.49. That's our variance. Abi. So therefore, our standard deviation is not the word square of variance 21.49. What do we have? 4.6. That's our standard variance. Variance and derivation of x. Let's go for y. Same procedure for y. The variance and the standard deviation of y, abi? Okay, the same procedure, probability and our return of y. What are probabilities again? 0.3, 0.5, 0.2. Okay, 28, 18, 15. Then let's now subtract from our expected return, abi? 28 minus 20.4. That will be return of y minus expected return of y. That's how much? 7.6. Then 18 minus 20.4 minus 2.4. 15 minus 20.4 minus 5.4. Abi? What next? Square, abi? Find the square. Return minus the return of y all square. 57.76. 5.76. 29.16. What happened? Probability next, abi? Probability into bracket return on y minus expected return of y all what square. That's probability. Last one. 5.83. 5.83.
Next one, 2.88.
2.88. 70.33. Our variance 26.04. Therefore, our standard deviation square of 26.04. 5.10. So with this analysis now, we have determined our standard deviation of each of these security, have we? So the next thing now is to now go ahead and approach the question by calculating the next step. Number B now, the covariance of return on those two securities. The covariance. When we are calculating covariance, take a further step to your manual. Go to page 262. when we are calculating covariance, when we are dealing with covariance of two security. Now, covariance, come here, okay, Abi. The house of this place, so, alright. So when we are dealing with covariance, sometimes when we are dealing with covariance of two security, there's a need for us to actually get, okay, let me say like this, there are two ways to calculate covariance of security. How many ways?
2 ways.
We can use formula by saying covariance of security, two security, where you have x and y, x and y, to be the standard deviation of x, standard deviation of y, and correlation coefficient of x and y. You can use this equation. Please be careful now. We are now moving step by step to formulas. We can use covariance of security as a standard deviation of x, standard deviation of y, and what? Correlation coefficient of x and y. This equation can only be used if you know the correlation coefficient. Am I talking now?
Yes, sir.
But if you don't know the correlation coefficient, you cannot use this equation to determine your covariance. In this question now, we know standard deviation of x, abi?
Yes.
How much? 4.64, abi? We know for y 5.1, but we don't know the correlation coefficient. Hello, automatically we cannot use this equation to solve this problem. Am I talking now?
Yes, sir.
This equation is only useful when all these variables is what are known. But or if you don't know it, then you can use raw data. What do I call it?
Raw data.
Raw data. In using raw data, you will use the information you have about your x and about your what? Your y. In that case, our data will now be probability of those security multiplied by deviation of security A multiplied by deviation of security B. That is deviation of A probability times what? Deviation of A times what? Deviation of B. Then all their summation is your covariance. Is your what?
Covariance.
Now, how do you achieve that? The question now is, if you come to this equation now, your probability is known already, again.
Yes.
What are probability?
0.3,
0.3, 0.2, 0.3, 5 and 2. 0.3, 0.5, then 0.2. The next now is that, what is now our deviation? Our deviation is your return minus expected return. Is your what?
return minus expected return.
That's our deviation. Another name for this equation here is deviation. Am I talking now?
Yes, sir.
Am I talking please? Now, for deviation of A now, for probability of 0.3, what's our deviation? 4.1. Am I complete this?
Yes, sir.
So our deviation now is for A, that will be 4.1, 1.1, and minus 8.8. Oh, sorry, 8.9. Thank you. 8.9. But that's for X. I mean, then for security Y, Go and locate the zone deviation. That will be what? Return minus what? Expected return, abi? This is it, abi?
Yes, sir.
That will be what?
7.6.
7.6
2.4.
minus 2.4 and what? Minus 5.4. That's your. By the time you multiply all these things together and you sum them together, that's your what? Your covariance. Let's multiply it down. Please, you have to consider the sign. You have to consider the what?
The sign.
Now, 4.3 times 4.1 times 7.6.
9.35.
9.35. 4.5 times 1.1 times minus 2.4
Minus 1.32.
minus 1.32. Then 0.2 times minus 8.9 times minus 5.4.
9.61.
That will be 9.61. By the time you add them together, consider the sign. That will be 9.35 minus 1.32 plus 9.61.
17.6.
17.64. That is the covariance of X and Y. That's your what?
Covariance of X and Y.
Please. If you have this information like this, your answer here and this will be the same. Covariance. If I may ask now again, what is the formula for covariance? Two formulas, have you?
Yes.
Number one is what?
The standard deviation of
That ratio of X times the ratio of Y times the ratio of X and Y. Or probability times deviation of
Derivation of
So with that, they now ask us to calculate the covariance, the correlation coefficient. Hello? Looking at this equation now, if you know the covariance, you know the derivation of X, and you know the derivation of Y, you should be able to calculate your correlation coefficient. Abi now?
Yes, sir.
So for correlation coefficients, correlation coefficient now of X and Y. Please, in most cases, I always go for this formula because using raw data is a very long process. It's a very what?
Long.
So one anytime you have to calculate correlation coefficient, just quickly calculate this one first. Then use this question and solve the problem. Because it will be correlation of X and Y is equal to what? Covariance of X and Y divided by standard deviation of X, standard deviation of Y. Our correlation is how much?
17.64.
Abi?
Yes.
Standard deviation 4.64.
Yes.
Standard deviation 5.1. So that means this variable is what is known, Abi?
Yes.
So therefore, our correlation between of X and Y is equal to what? 17.64 divided by what?
5.1 times
Will what I do?
4.64
4.64 times what?
5.1.
5.1. What do we have now?
0.745.
0.75. Positive, Abi?
Yes.
So it is positive. So this, I said, correlation coefficient can be negative, positive, or zero. But this one is what?
It's positive.
So in view of this, what we are actually to achieve here is that we are still trying to achieve how to measure risk. How to do what?
How to measure risk.
All what we have done so far is measuring of risk. And we said when you are trying to compare relationship between the two investments that I talked about, you talk about how they correlate. Is it positive correlation? Is it negative correlation or zero correlation? Let's now go deep now to correlate theory. Page 265. All what we have done so far is what? Risk, okay? Let's now talk about the portfolio itself now. Portfolio itself. Introduction to probability theory. I will fast a little bit here, and please do the listening. Introduction to probability theory. Probability theory is concerned with how investor should build a portfolio of investments that give them a suitable balance between return and investment risk. Right now, probability theory is about how will a company build up its investments that there will be a balance between what return and investment and the risk rather. Probability theory provide a theoretically basis for capital asset pricing model. I said here that capital asset pricing model always focus on probability theory. It is only returns that brings about or that consider risk. Dividend valuation model does not consider risk. Am I talking now? Yeah. You read about dividend, but it is the campaign that consider it by saying risk free and risk premium. Abi? Yeah. Risk adverse investor will accept risk provided that they are compensated for it by an adequate return. A risk adverse person will always accept a risk provided that there's a return. Ẹnu kìí lówó àbí? That's a risk person. You can take any risk. Ask him to go and slap Abi. Check the point, he will slap. Provided there's a what? There's a money. You do that. Okay. A risk adverse investor will accept risk provided that they are compensated for by an adequate return. However, if they could reduce their risk without a reduction in return, this will be what? Even better. If they can reduce their risk and yet they are maintaining their return, they will prefer that. And everybody now wants that. You want to reduce your risk and still maintain your return. You want to do that. Diversification now. To achieve that, you can use diversification. Diversification is a way of reducing your risk and still maintain your returns. An investor can reduce the investment risk. In other words, reduce the volatility of expected return by diversifying its investment and hold a portfolio of different investment. Creating a portfolio of different investment can reduce the variance and standard deviation. If you want to reduce this variance and standard deviation, you can bring up a good portfolio investment. Are we together? Let me read further a little bit now. Because if some investment provide a lower than expected return, others will provide a higher than expected return. Extremely high or low return are therefore less likely to occur. Similarly, a company could reduce the investment risk in its business by diversifying and build a portfolio of different investments. However, it can be argued that there is no reason for a company to diversify its investment because an investor can achieve all the diversification he requires by selecting a diversified portfolio of equity. That's what I was giving a doctor. If you want to make money and you want to have a good job and job security, then you diversify to go and study medicine. There will be job security, you quickly get job, and there will be what? A little bit money. You people that take care of the family. But you want to make big money, come and study accounting.
Yes.
Politics is technically is armed robber. Sorry, honorable. I won't agree. The politics technically is advanced armed robber. Don't play politics. Mashodo. Thank you, sir. When you want to make money, come and study accounting, make money. Diversification to reduce risk. That you want to do what? To reduce risk. The correlation of investment. Please, when you are saying you want to diversify, this correlation is very, very well, very, very important. It's very, very important to very, very important. Above, the extent to which investment risk can be reduced by building a portfolio of different investment depends on what? The correlation of the return from different investment in the portfolio. How do they correlate with each other? But let's now break it down now. Where return from different investments in a portfolio are positively correlated. I said they can be positive, they can be negative, they can be 0. Anytime that the correlation between two portfolio tó gbé sí òkò ṣe investment yẹn tó lò dára lọ́dún ààrẹ, if their correlator is positive, you have done nothing. You have what? You are still dwelling what in this. So when, that's why I give example. You husband and wife, both are working in the Rose-Giver Hotel. Sorry for using that as an example. I think they are still owing them how many months now? Almost 8 months or 6 months, 9 months, I mean, 9 months salary. They are still counting a bit ahead. So now, if both of you now you are not working in that sector, and you say we are working, are you working? No. Oh, you are dwelling risk. I'm not talking now. So now, if you invest now, anytime there are two investment and positive correlation, let me pay. When their return is going up, both of them will be going up together. Positive. If they are coming down, both of them will be coming down together. So let me pay. The positive correlation investment now is only like this. Their movement. They are like waves of water. If they are positive, it will be if A and B. If they go up, you go up, and B will go up. If B is coming down, B is coming down. If you go up again, you go up. So if I come down with your saying, I don't jìyà ẹ papọ̀ àbí. But I tell you, say close to anything, I don't gbádùn. But don't forget, it can come down, you will not survive it. You are doing business. You are doing business. You put 2 million naira in A, 2 million naira in B, abi, and both of them go up, you enjoy. And you just come down. What about the investment? That means you are dwelling in risk. So when a portfolio are positive correlated, you have never diversified. You are still dwelling in what? That risk. Are we together, please? Are we together, sir? Let me complete the statement now. When return from the different investment is in the positive, in the portfolio rather, are positive correlated. This means that when the return from one of the investments is what? Is higher than expected, the return from the other investment would what? Be higher than expected. Similarly, when return from one investment is lower than expected, the return from all the investment in portfolio will be lower than expected. What happened now? There is a risk. Number 2, negative. Anyway, opposite ni you are working in federal revenue and you are working in the when this one is higher than expected, this one will be what? Will be lower than expected, abi? And when is what? Is higher than expected, this one will be what? So the effect of this one will be pushed by what? The surplus of this one. Is that what better? So negative correlation is what? Is best. Above. When return from two different investments in a portfolio are negatively correlated, this means that when the return from one of the investment is higher than expected, the return from the other investment will be lower than negative. Abi? Negative. This is A, this is B. Abi? When this one go up, this one come down. Abi? When it come down, when it come up, you know what? It's coming down. Abi? That's how they go. Negative what? Correlation. Are we together, please? Are we together? Okay, let's take a step further into it now. Number 3. When return from two investments are neither positively or negatively correlated, okay, no correlation. This means that when the return from one investment are higher than expected, the return from the other investment might be what? Might be higher or lower than expected. That is, you are working with a federal revenue services. Your wife is working in the private sector. private sector now they can owe you this month. I mean they can pay you next month. I mean you can just be flow. So this one will go up, oh, that will be just so that means that if they are zero now, if they are zero now, if A is going up, then B can be do it anyhow. Up down. So that means they are what? They are not correlated. How is that down? So how many questions do we have now? 3. Positive, negative, and what? So as a smart investor, which one are you trying to achieve? Negative. That was the guy they asked that question. What is it for a portfolio to be well diversified? For a portfolio to be what? There are three for you to diversify. I mean, how to be what? Well diversified. Am I talking now? What looking for a portfolio to be well diversified? Discuss the characteristics that they must work, they must possess. Number 1, they must be what? They must be negatively correlated. That's the first that's come to your mind. For a portfolio to be well diversified, they must be what? Negatively correlated. You understand? Aside that, you have to be very careful with this. If you have 1 million, you want to invest 1 million naira. You have 1 million naira, you want to invest. This investment A and B, they are negative correlated, you know that about that. You now invest now 100,000 a year, and you now invest 100,000 a year. Have you diversified? No, that you diversify nothing. This one can go up. You be you are doing abi. This one come down. How much for me? But by the time this one is coming down, dash. What happened to the investment? It's gone. Because suppose the larger proportion of the investment is in that A. So maybe before you can say you want to diversify now, the proportion of your investments must be properly weighted. Must be what? Let's say this one is a 55. This one is a 45. Which makes sense. You can still start life with what? 45%. I mean, 50 bad luck back. Which they survive with 45. But if 90 is going, that's the end. So the characteristic that they will possess now is number 1, they must be what? Negatively weighted. And number 2, we call the proportion of your investment must be properly weighted. Like 50-50, 40-50, like that. So don't forget that. Now, let me read further down. Investment risk is reduced. Investment risk is reduced by building up a portfolio of investment whose return are what? Negatively correlated, or where correlation is what? Slow. That they are very close to 0. That's when you what? You diversify. Though by negative, you are not what? Diversified. Now, correlation coefficients of investment return now. The correlation of return from different investments can be measured statistically by correlation coefficient, which we have saw last time. What's the formula again? Formula for again. Correlation coefficient of X and Y is not the what? Covariance of X and Y over what? Division of X and division of Y. You can measure it like this. Or you use raw data, but don't go say anything about raw data. Please, help me. Raw data is a very long process. But if you don't talk about any covariance use this method to calculate that. Once you get it, then you can use your computer like that. Now, a correlation coefficient range from the value of positive 1. If your correlation coefficient is positive 1, I'm going perfectly positive correlation. No way. If it is exactly plus 1, it's perfect. A correlation coefficient can range in value of positive 1. One people to take 1, you get exactly 1. That's what perfectly positive correlation. Then if it's now minus 1, because the range is from your correlation coefficient cannot be more than plus 1 and low, and cannot be lesser than minus 1. This is the range. from +1 to what? -1. Am I talking now? So if it is a -1 exactly, like a perfect negative correlation. But in reality, we hardly see perfect 1 and perfect -1. Am I talking now? You go like go the last time like it. Go for a 7-9. Oh my heart, that really 1. So if you have perfect 1, you are in soup. You are in what? Am I talking? Oh, people say, that can you are seeing that risk. But if you have perfect -1, really, that means they are extremely well. But it is very hard to have 2 investments that they are one perfect -1 or perfect +1. In reality, it's hard. Once again, you as you close, open. So that was it now. So investment risk is reduced most. What to solve? I mean, when you pay investment risk is what is reduced most effectively by what? By having investment in a portfolio whose returns are negative correlated or where there is no much correlation. You might be required. You might be what?
Required.
That's what I always do for the back. They can ask you to do. Then I will go and study them more. You might be required to calculate the correlation coefficient of a return from 2 investments in a portfolio that is a 2 investment portfolio. You will not be required. You what?
Will not be required.
Are we together? You will not be required to make any calculation of correlation from a portfolio of more than 2 investments. I want to say, but once again, but the same principle apply to larger mathematics below where the same principle applies. Don't mind them, or you receive 10 portfolio theory in the exam. I'm joking. But you can see 3, you can see 2, you can see 4 in the exam. But most if you are to below, apply the same principle. Apply the same principle. Summary of this portfolio. When an investment is added, and this is where we are looking at now. When an investment is added to existing portfolio, that is investment A, because here we want to make a decision. You have investment A, you want to add it to portfolio B to become portfolio A and B again. You have to make a decision. Should I accept this A? Abi now? You have B before. Alone, abi? You are not thinking of adding A to it. Am I talking?
Yes.
You are selling provision in your house. You are not thinking of adding mineral to it, abi? You are selling biscuit, guguru, but you are not selling mineral. Or crates, carton. You are not thinking of adding it to it now. Your decision to add it to it now will depend on some things. Not as a market, as a non-layman, as a what? As an investment analysis now. You want to analyze very well. Now, when an investment A is added to existing portfolio B, the risk of the new portfolio formed will usually be less than a simple weighted average of the individual risk of A and B. Just make on a good day, B itself, they will have its own risk, abi? The A that is coming will have its own risk, abi? By the time you now put them to A and B, our risk of what? Portfolio, abi now?
Yes, sir.
This is risk of A, risk of B, abi? By the time you now put them together, they will now become a portfolio A and B. The risk of A and B altogether only pay likely wey go and lesser than the simple weighted average of this. What is simple average? This for this level or level 2. Am I talking now?
Yes.
Which is Like Yamila originally. You have A, you are contemplating of investing A. I mean, that's your target. But you have B before. B that you have now before, he has no risk. I mean, then A that is coming, we have so what is own risk. I mean, we are not saying that by the time you put them together, they will become what portfolio of A and B. Portfolio here on its own, we have so risk combined. The risk combined, what is likely to be lesser by the risk of A and B. They are simple average one. Where the average of A and B now one get risk of A plus risk of B divided by 2. That is their simple weighted average. But now see, this one is now 4. This one may be what? May be 3. Depends on how they correlate, how A and B correlate. If A and B is negative correlated, as a meaning, how they know gidi, how they gidi. But if they are positive, well, they are only 4. We are truly better because they are positive, are they? But if they are negative, this return, the risk of portfolio will come down. So that will now take us to this level now. How do we measure the risk of a portfolio? We have talked about what? The return of portfolio. I mean, what's the return of portfolio again? Return of portfolio is what? The weighted average of return of portfolio, that's the return of A plus the times the weight of the A plus return of B times weight of the B. This is the return of portfolio. If you have a return, you should have a what? You should have a risk also. So the risk of the portfolio now will be lesser than the simple average of the investment that we are talking about. It will be as of what their correlation. If it's negative, it will go down more. Positive can be almost equal or even increase, but to man the there. Now let's go back to the next page now. Some I've said earlier on, I've said the most okay, some investment might do even more than this. Some investment can be added to the existing portfolio to give what a new portfolio a lower risk than the what existing portfolio. This is because of the way that the investment return interacts with each other. Correlation coefficient. Now, with each other in different set of economic conditions, state of the world. Whether such investments are acceptable will depends on the effect that they have on the return of the existing portfolio. If you are to accept this one to be added to your portfolio, it depends on how it affects your return. But when you add it together now, what the police bó lè gbè mí kí ló bó ṣe wá sí bí bó ṣe bá mi ìdílé náà ti bá ṣọ ìdílé ti dàgbà díẹ̀ díẹ̀. Now, if you are bringing a new investment to come and join the existing portfolio, you will accept it depends on the effect that it will have on what on the return after you have added it. If you are adding it and the return is coming down, something is wrong abi you will not accept it. We are still going later. Now go back to the next page now. Two asset portfolio now. How do we measure the risk of the two asset portfolio? How do we measure the risk? We have said earlier that to measure the return, abi okay, you have it already again. Portfolio theory works by looking at the impact that a new investment will have on the existing portfolio. The risk or return concurrentities of the existing portfolio are compared to those of the portfolio if the new investment were included. And better return from the two other portfolio, I said earlier on the board. On that one. The above equation show that a better return from the two other portfolio is a simple weighted average of return of each asset in the portfolio now. Then the standard deviation of return of two asset portfolio now. What is standard deviation? That's what the risk of what? Now, please don't forget. I said that when you have two assets, portfolio, you have investment A, you have investment A and B. That means you are operating portfolio of two assets, abi, of A and B, abi, A and B. Now, this assets on its own, on its own, on its own, A on its own, we have a risk, also have a what? Abi? Then B on its own, we have risk, also have what? By the time you put them together, you have what? Portfolio. The portfolio of A and B now, of A and B, we also have a what? Risk and what? We have discussed how to calculate their return as a what? Simple weighted average. Abi, like say weight of A times return of A, abi, weight of B times return of that will give you the return. That means that our return of portfolio should be weight of A times return of A. I'm repeating it so that I can sing. And what? Weight of B times return of B. But if you are talking about their risk, by measuring risk of this guy, you can get standard deviation again of A. Maybe I tell you. So that means we can get the standard deviation of portfolio. Abi? Are we together, please?
Yes, sir.
So if they ask you that calculate the risk of the portfolio, what are you looking for? Standard deviation. To use raw data sometimes is very, very complex. To use what? I will teach us how to use raw data to calculate the risk of a portfolio. But you can use formula. What is formula? The standard deviation of portfolio is always like this. The square root of the weight of A multiplied by standard deviation of A all square. That is, if it's a two asset portfolio, if it's a what?
Two assets.
Then plus the weight of B times standard deviation of B all square. Then plus 2 times the weight of A, weight of B, standard deviation of A, standard deviation of B, and coefficient of A and B. So if you are calculating the risk of a portfolio, this is the equation that will make you solve. Now, ọmọ wá ṣe orí ṣe kí ni iṣẹ́ ṣì yá pa ẹ̀ bá yẹn. Ẹ ti mọ́lé o bọ̀ ọ̀nà iṣẹ́ ṣì mọ́lẹ̀ o. Now, look at this. Please, this formula should not be tried because it does one-way traffic. Abi? Weight with dimension, weight dimension. Then all what you have here, that's what you have here. Abi? You only had this at the back. Now, if you can remember, check the equation yìí, a ti lò lẹ́kọ̀ọ́. Ola pè ní covariance. Abi?
Yes.
Well, if you treat the covariance of A and B, you know what? Standard deviation of A, standard deviation of B, correlation of the A and what and B at the level B. So in very now, I can redo this equation by just put covariance here.
Yes.
So I'm covariance, Abi, just put it. Abi, so I can change. I can say or weight of A, Abi, times standard deviation of A square, Abi, by saying plus weight of B times standard deviation of B, Abi,